Hello and welcome back to Heart to Heart Parenting. We're in section 2 and this is video 2. In the last video we talked about what the heart actually is, and in this video I'm going to start teaching you how to connect with the heart. So first and foremost, to connect with your child's heart, you're going to have to speak to his heart using the language of the heart. And the language of the heart is emotions. So now, I'm not talking about an emotional exchange with your child where you get into it. Not at all. I'm talking about that we have to get past the external circumstances that are causing the emotional state he's in, and we have to speak to his internal state. We have to see the heart. You know, God sees the heart, so we don't want to miss what God is seeing when he looks at your child. So we have to look past the external to what's really going on. Now, our automatic response, if your child comes to you and he's upset, you don't need me to teach you how to deal with happiness. So we're talking about negative emotions. When your child's in a negative emotional state here, he's going to come to you. Our automatic response, in an effort to help our child feel better, we try to talk to him with logical reasons why he shouldn't be upset. That's our automatic default response. Okay, but this creates disconnect because he's presenting an emotional state. His heart is speaking to you, and you're trying to speak back to him, or you are speaking back to him with logic, which is the language of the head, reason and logic, right? So, and you're not speaking to his emotional state. So if he's crying or if he's upset, that's an emotion that he's communicating to you, and you're speaking back to his head, trying to tell him why his heart shouldn't be hurting, and the heart never listens to logic, okay? So that's what creates that disconnect and that head-to-head feeling that you have. If you feel like you're up against a brick wall and why am I not being able to get through to my child? It's probably because you're presenting logical reasons and of why he shouldn't feel the way he does. So logic doesn't speak to feelings, all right? In fact, this type of approach will always escalate the situation. And why? Because the heart is trying to communicate to you and it's being ignored, so it just speaks louder and louder. That's what creates tantrums, fits, and all those situations where we feel like we've just lost control. Because the child is screaming louder and louder, why aren't you hearing what I'm trying to communicate to you, which is an emotional state. So there's one child expert I listened to, and she said a tantrum is the ultimate cry for help because that's just an escalated emotional state. Okay? Take the example of typical scenario. A 2-year-old, you're in the store, they want something they cannot have. You tell them every reason, which is logic, why they can't have it. Well, that doesn't do anything for their desire, which they're expressing from their heart, a desire for something they saw, a piece of candy, a toy. And maybe they even have a toy just like it at home. But they see it and they say, oh, I love that, and they want it. All right? So he cries louder and louder until, and this is the key, this is actually the basic key for this whole process to work, is empathy. And he will cry louder and louder until you empathize, until you show you understand what he's feeling. You come alongside of him instead of trying to resist his emotions. You're coming alongside of him and saying, I understand how you're feeling. I feel your pain. And I'll teach you some specific techniques of how to communicate this way when we get into the 3 steps. But right now, I just want you to understand that empathy is the key. If you don't do this process with empathy, with an attitude of empathy that you do understand and you feel your child's pain, then it's not going to work. You'll sabotage your efforts. It may work to a certain degree, but not to the amazing degree that it can work. So empathy has to be present for the process to work. The Bible tells us in Psalm 34:18 that God is near the brokenhearted. All right? So when your child is brokenhearted, if you want to emulate God to them, be near to them. In other words, empathize with them. And like I said, come alongside and feel their pain. Think about your own experience in life. When you're upset about something, you want someone to empathize. You don't want someone to tell you why you shouldn't be upset. That's the worst, right? So empathy is the key to success. The good news is that negative emotions are the best time to connect with your child. So all those situations you used to dread, now you're going to look forward to them because it's the best time to connect and the best time to show your child that you are on his side by empathizing with him when he needs you the most. So I'll see you in the next video. This is going to be step 1 of our amazing 3-step process. I'll see you there.